All right, day 440. What we're working on today is we got some more progress to make on building our comp list. Now, I love looking at this area because in Birmingham, there's just new properties coming onto the market every day. So if you remember, right, what we've been doing for the past 6-12 months, we've been adding to our list of all the properties that have been sold in the Birmingham market by zip code and all the other attributes that you typically see, right? Bed bath, square foot count, year built, price sold, dollar per square foot, lot size, whether they have a garage or basement, and what neighborhoods they're in. And there's some general notes about the condition of their home. Now, once you exhausted that list, now what I'm paying attention to is whether or not those dollar per square foot is still holding up. And the reason I'm doing that is because, well, if I were just to show you what's going on with the 10-year Treasury bond yield, you can see that it's been seesawing. When you look at the last year, you can see that the property has gone from as high as 4.7 to as low as 3.6, almost a full point swing. And if you understand how mortgage rates work, typically the 30-year mortgage follows the 10-year yield, but there's also typically a spread between the 10-year yield and the 30-year mortgage, which includes, well, typically about 1.5 to 2 points. I mean, we've seen as high as 3 points between that spread. So you can see as the spread narrows, that can drive your interest rate lower. But also, of course, if your 10-year yield goes down, it also drives the interest rates lower. So all these factors matter a ton, right? But when you see it going up and down, naturally, that's going to affect your willingness to pay and what are properties being sold at. Now, if you're pursuing a BRRRR strategy, which stands for buy, rehab, rent, refinance, and repeat, well, guess what? That's very heavily dependent on your after repair value. Because if you have, let's say you buy a property for $20,000 cash, rundown home, probably being foreclosed on, and you spend $50,000 renovating that home, and now you're able to make it worth $100,000. Now you're able to go get a debt service coverage ratio loan or just a income-based loan, whatever loan product you choose, but maybe you can get a loan for 70% of the loan value, which means for a $100,000 home is verified and appraised by a third-party appraiser, you can get back out 70% of that. And that 70% can bring you back all your invested capital in the first place, right? $100,000 home, 70% of that is $70,000. You get back out that $70,000 in the form of loan proceeds. So now you are able to take the same $70,000 back out and rinse and repeat. Do the same thing over and over, right? And that's the advantage and the beauty of the BRRRR strategy. Okay, so, and what's that in comparison, right? Sometimes I want to give an example, right? What might somebody else do? They typically will save 20% down and buy a home, hope it cash flows, blah, 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 and then save up again from their full-time job to buy another property. And you can see why that's such a slow process, because it takes a long time for you to save up enough money for 20% down on an investment property, right? It takes people long enough to save up for the down payment. So all these factors matter a ton, all right? So what we're going to do next is let's note down all these properties. So as you can see, I've been filtering on properties that are coming on the market, 4-bed plus, 1-bathroom plus minimum, obviously, single family homes, and they've been on Redfin for less than 7 days. And now I found this property, which was 321 20th Ave, Center Point, Alabama. So Center Point is a quieter area in Alabama. So let me write this address down. Take down this note. 4-bed, 2-bath in 1733. 1964. Sold price 175. If this is on the market for 175. Why is that not typing? There we go. And now my dollar per square foot is going to equal to 175 divided by 1733. That's $101 a square foot. This was listed today, 12/13/24, and the lot size of this home is 0.35 acres. No garage, no basement, no HOA, right? Just double checking. Yeah, carport only. No carport. And general condition of the home, I mean, this home looks pretty nice if you ask me. It looks fully renovated, modern bathrooms. So this might be a great ARV if you intend to remodel your home to look something like this. This is great. So let me write down the conditions of the home right over here. Newly renovated. Remodel kitchen, bathrooms, no painting or flooring needed. Okay. So now this gives me a pretty good sense of, hey, if I find a property that's 1733 square feet, that's a 3-bed, 2-bath, and I can convert it to 4-bed that looks like this, now I can say, well, I can probably reasonably expect if it's in the same area, this is northwest of Morningside. Northwest of Morningside. All right. I can reasonably expect if it's the same area, as long as you're not crossing big borders, such as these main streets right here, or these natural borders, such as these creeks, and you're staying relatively within the same neighborhood. And that's how you have confidence, right? I mean, a perfect comp would be, let's say, if this home right next to it had the same bed bath count, square footage, year build, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that would be your ideal comp, but you never typically get comps such as those because, well, that's just sometimes not the luck of the draw. That's just not how the market works. It's not every day where a neighbor sells and the other neighbor sells, right? Everybody has their own reasons for selling, buying, and moving. All right. So this is great. I got this number, and now I can always refer back to this property, especially if I find something. So I'm just going to highlight this. This is a pretty good one. I'm going to remember that myself. Just making notes. All right. And now, if I were to analyze this property, like, let's just do the math here, right? So this property is 175 grand. 175, and I'm saying that I'll probably just leave aside no money for maybe just replace the toilets with high pressure flush toilets, but I don't need to do any flooring work, zero that out. I don't need to do any painting work, zero that out. $5 for some landscaping, and maybe I'll set aside $1,500 for the roof just in case there's anything I can't seed for patching work. That gives me a $35 rehab, which is nothing, right? Now, if I go to affordablehousing.com and I go to the owner section, I go to the market rent estimator, plug in the address token by account. I can see that the average rent for 25 units that are 4-bedroom homes within a 1.78 mile radius is $1,416. So I'm going to use $1,400, just rounding down here for even numbers. Now, if I want to get my property tax number here, I'm going to see that this property tax estimate was $88. So I'm going to do 88. Obviously, verify with your county assessor records to make sure that's accurate. And then my home insurance, I'm going to do 136 times 1.2. And that's going to be $163. I'm adding a 20% premium because I'm assuming when you switch this property from a primary residence to a investment property, and I'm assuming that this estimate of 136 is for a primary residence. So if I'm not using that as a primary residence, I should expect to pay more, right? So that's why I added 20% premium by multiplying by 1.2. Then I'm setting aside 10% of my rents every single month for maintenance because I know there's repairs in the future that I have to account for. If I don't set aside $140 every single month, and in 100 months from now, I get a roof replacement bill for 14 grand, this extra $140 that I thought I was making goes out the window because I would have overestimated my profitability for 140 months because I know I'm going to replace a roof someday, right? So don't be that person. Always set aside money for this. Then you got 10% for property management, and I got 5% for vacancy. So now, if I use 25% down on this property in F19, my down payment is going to equal to my B4, my asking price, multiplied by my down payment percentage in F19. That will give me 2.5% for closing costs. And with a $35 renovations, assuming I can rent this finance this property using B4 asking price minus my down payment percentage. So I'm financing 131 grand at 7.5% interest rate. This would be, if I run up from 1,400, I'd be negative cash flow 119 a month, and that's a negative 2.8% return, assuming I bought this property for 175. That's assuming $35 rehab. Great. Now, watch what happens, right? We want to go through this exercise so that we understand how do you pick apart whether or not something's a deal, quote unquote, right? And for you to get there, you have to play around with the levers, but also understand what your criteria is. So let's say the target return is 10%. And I'm not saying 10% is a magical number, but it's good for you to have your own benchmark. Because you have to understand, one, what is your goal? Because some people will not care about cash on cash return. They might just say, hey, if I buy $1 million property in Southern California and it breaks even, who cares if I make $100 a month when I'm making 5% in appreciation? That's $50,000. That's real wealth building right there. Now, is that risky? Yeah, absolutely it is risky because you're speculating, right? There's no guarantee that housing prices go up. So that's why it's to each their own. You got to talk to your own investment professionals. You have to understand why you're doing this and what your strategy and what your portfolio diversification is, because you have to understand what are you going to do to justify the execution risk. Meaning, what is the risk that your contractor does not show up on time and do what he or said they were going to do? What if your Section 8 inspection fails? And now all of a sudden you have extra 2 months of holding costs because you're back and forth with repairs and getting the inspector back out there. All these factors matter. So pay attention. And this is why we want to figure out, okay, what will make this a deal? So if I lower my asking price, let's say to $108,000, great. I'm almost there. If I go to 100 grand, 102, great. If I'm at 102, I'll be able to achieve my target return. Now, does that mean someone's going to accept your offer for 102 when they're listing for 175? Probably not. But at least now you know, right? Now you know what that number is if you were to buy this property on the market. But most importantly, what I want you to do is figure out, if I am personally doing a BRRRR strategy, I want to understand really what's more important. What are these properties being sold for? Because then I can figure out, is there opportunity for me to add value to the home, and how much value can I add to justify the investment that I'm spending to renovate the property? All right. So I hope you all have an amazing Friday. I hope you all spend some quality time with your family and friends this weekend, especially you don't follow me on the weekends. And have an amazing day, everybody. I will see you all tomorrow for day 441. Have a good one, everybody. Oh, of course, I forgot. If you guys want to copy the spreadsheet, go to affordablehousing.io. I didn't make the spreadsheet from scratch. I got it from a few other folks. I modified, I tweaked it so that I can analyze deals as fast as possible. But put in your name, email, phone number. That's the fastest way to get a copy of the spreadsheet. And that's it. I hope you copy my homework. I hope you analyze the same deal I analyzed today. Because when that person asks you, hey, why do you think this is a deal? You can say, I've been looking at deals for the past 440 days. They're all not deals. All right. Have an amazing day. I'll see you all tomorrow.